Okay, so today we will discuss about the equilibrium moisture content. So by by the end of this topic, you will able to know about what is the equilibrium moisture content. Equilibrium moisture content means EMC. In the short form, it is known as EMC, equilibrium moisture content, and what are its importance. And also, we will see the psychrometric chart and what are its different components. So for this topic, you can refer these books. Now, equilibrium moisture content. What do you mean by the equilibrium moisture content? So this is the moisture content of a product in equilibrium with the surrounding air. Okay, if the moisture content of the product is uh, more than the environment, then it will release, or if it is less, then it will gain. Okay, so at the equilibrium, the moisture content of the environment as well as the moisture content of the grain will be the same. So that point is known as the equilibrium moisture content. So you know the most of the agricultural product, especially the food grains, absorb the moisture from the environment or lose the moisture to the environment. Okay. So when the ambient temperature rises and humidity of air decreases, the water present in food grains vaporize, so consequently the grain lose the moisture, which result in the drying. Okay. So thus we find that at particular conditions, the moisture content of grains depend upon the temperature and relative humidity of the environment. Okay. So if the vapor pressure of the water present in the grain is more than the vapor pressure of water vapor in the air, the water present in grain vaporize and diffuse in the atmosphere. Alternatively, if the vapor pressure of water present in the grain is less than the atmospheric vapor pressure, the grain will absorb the moisture from the atmosphere. Okay, so this property of gaining or losing of moisture as per the atmospheric condition is known as hygroscopicity. So the moisture content attained by a grain with respect to a state of atmospheric temperature and relative humidity is called the equilibrium moisture content of the grain. So in such condition, the grain moisture is in equilibrium with the surrounding air. Okay, so that point is known as the EMC. Okay. So equilibrium moisture content is the moisture content of a product in equilibrium with the surrounding air at given temperature and humidity. Okay. And also you can say this is the minimum moisture content to which a material can be dried under given condition. So the equilibrium moisture content for biological material generally increases rapidly with a relative humidity above 60% to 80% because of capillary and dissolution effects. Okay, now the hysteresis effect. So if a dry food is placed in environment with a constant humidity and temperature, it will take up moisture by adsorption until it reaches its equilibrium moisture content. Okay. If a dry food is placed in environment with a constant humidity and temperature, it will take up moisture by absorption until it reaches its equilibrium moisture content. So this is known as the adsorption equilibrium moisture content. Okay. Now just reverse. If, however, a wet food with the same property is placed in the same environment, it will lose moisture by desorption and reach to equilibrium moisture content, that is known as desorption equilibrium moisture content. Okay. So when you plot these values on a graph paper, so a loop like a structure you will get like this one. First one is the adsorption, means when the dry food is there, then dry food will take up moisture from the environment up to what? Up to the equilibrium moisture content. Okay, so that is the adsorption EMP. So this first graph, this one, this is known as the adsorption EMP. And similarly, when the wet food is there, then that wet food will release the moisture content up to the equilibrium moisture content. Okay, so that is known as the desorption EMP. So this second graph is the desorption EMP. So here you can see one loop you will get. So this loop is known as the hysteresis. So the hysteresis effect is observed due to shrinkage effect during desorption, which change the water binding properties of the food product. Therefore, during adsorption, same path of EMC is not observed. Okay, so this is the hysteresis. Now, the moisture content. Moisture content can be classified according to its availability in the food matrix also. The different types is bound moisture as well as free moisture content. Okay. So bound moisture means the bound moisture is the amount of water tightly bound to the food matrix, mainly by physical adsorption on active site of hydrophilic macromolecular materials such as protein and polysaccharides with properties significantly different from those of bulk water. Whereas the free moisture content Free moisture content is the amount of water mechanically entrapped in the void space of the system. So free water is not in the same thermodynamic state as liquid water because energy is required to overcome the capillary forces. Furthermore, free water may contain chemicals, especially dissolved sugar, acid, and salts, altering the drying characteristics. Now, the importance of EMC. So, EMC is of particular importance for drying and storage of agricultural materials. These are the importance of or use of this EMC. The first use, the EMC gives us the idea where the material will gain the moisture or lose the moisture at a particular atmospheric condition. Okay. Second application of this EMC is it also gives an idea about rate of moisture removal. It also helps to determine drying characteristics. With the help of EMC, it can be predicted that to which moisture level product can be dried with heated air. Yeah. Hysteresis effect. In the last slide, we also have seen the hysteresis effect. So, when some agriculture product in the process of losing moisture attains equilibrium moisture content with the surrounding, the EMC is known as the desorption EMC. This first one, second one. But when a dry product gains the moisture from the surrounding and attains the Okay, so this is a psychrometric chart. This is used. Uh, this will give the graphical representation of thermodynamic properties of air. Okay, so from this chart, if you know any two parameters, then you can get the all other parameters of air. So this psychrometric chart gives the following thermodynamic properties of moist air at 1 atmospheric pressure. First is the wet bulb temperature, dry bulb temperature, or you can say these are the component of this psychrometric chart. Wet bulb temperature, dry bulb temperature, dew point temperature, humidity ratio, relative humidity, specific volume, and enthalpy. So if any two of these properties are known, a point on the chart can be located and the other properties can be determined by reading the value of required lines representing the properties and passing through the point. So this is the psychrometric chart. If you know any two properties, then other properties, other components of this chart you can get. Now in this chart, there are different components are there like wet bulb temperature, dry bulb temperature. Okay, so what are these? So dry bulb temperature, this is the temperature of the air determined by a thermometer with a dry bulb. So this is known as the dry bulb temperature. This is a common thermometer, dry bulb temperature. Second is the wet bulb temperature. So in the wet bulb temperature, the tip of that thermometer is on the tip of thermometer we place a piece of wet cloth, and that is known as the wet bulb temperature. So wet bulb thermometer. So wet bulb temperature, this is the temperature of the air which is measured by a thermometer with the bulb covered by a piece of wet cloth. Okay. But in the dry bulb temperature thermometer, no any wet cloth is placed. So wet bulb temperature is less, obviously it will be less. Wet bulb temperature is less than the dry bulb temperature. The second component of this psychrometric chart is dew point temperature. So what is dew point temperature? This is the temperature at which the saturation state of mixture of air and water vapor reaches during a cooling process at constant pressure. That is the dew point temperature. Absolute humidity. Absolute humidity this is the ratio of 1 kg of water vapor and 1 kg of dry air. That is known as the absolute humidity. The ratio of kg of water vapor and kg of dry air is the absolute humidity. Other one is percentage humidity. So this is the ratio of absolute air humidity with respect to absolute air humidity at saturation point, and also it is at the same dry bulb temperature. That is the percentage humidity. Percentage humidity means it is the ratio of absolute air humidity. Okay, normal absolute air humidity to the absolute air humidity at saturation point. That is known as the percentage humidity. Relative humidity, the ratio of water vapor pressure in air vapor mixture to the saturated water vapor pressure in air at the same temperature is known as relative humidity of air. So relative humidity means the ratio of actual vapor pressure, ratio of actual vapor pressure to the saturated water vapor pressure, that is known as relative humidity. Other one is humid heat. So humid heat is the specific heat of a mixture of 1 kg of dry air and y kg of water vapor. Humid heat is the specific heat of a mixture. Which mixture? 1 kg of dry air and y kg of water vapor. And it is represented by this equation: QH is equal to QD plus QVY, QV into Y, where QH is the humid heat. We have to this one. The unit of this is joule per kg per Kelvin. QD is dry air heat, joule per kg Kelvin. QV is the water vapor heat, unit is same, and Y is air humidity, kg per kg. Now this is the humid heat. Now humid volume. So humid volume is the volume of 1 kg of dry air and its vapor at given temperature and pressure. Adiabatic process. In an adiabatic process, there is change from one condition to other condition without transfer of heat between the system and atmosphere or surrounding during the entire process. That is the adiabatic process. So these are some components of that psychrometric chart. Now the second is the drying theory. Okay, so before the drying theory, we should look first the different mode of the heat transfer. Okay. Already we have covered in the last semester this one. Mode of heat transfer. So there are basically three modes of heat transfer: conduction, convection, and radiation. Okay, so this principle is utilized in the drying theory of the grain. So here conduction, convection, and radiation. Okay, so in this picture you can see this is the conduction process. This is the water is heating, so convection process, and this is the radiation process. So conduction is the method of transfer of heat within a body or from one body to other due to the transfer of heat by molecules vibrating at their mean position. That is known as the conduction. So there is no actual movement of the matter while transferring heat from one location to the other. So conduction occurs generally in solids where molecules in the structure are held together strongly by intermolecular force of attraction amongst them. So for example, heat transfer through one layer of solid matter to the another layer of the material. Other example are heating of utensils. These are the example of conduction. So this conductive heat can determine by the Fourier's law. This is the equation. Q is equal to minus k T, where Q is the local heat flux density, K is the material conductivity, and T is the temperature gradient. Okay, so this is the conduction. The other mode is convection. Convection is the mode of heat transfer which occurs mostly in the liquid. Okay. In this method, the heat transfer takes place with the actual motion of matter from one place within the body to the other. For example, the boiling of liquid, drying of grain is mainly due to the convective heat transfer. So convective heat transfer can be determined by the Newton's law. This is the formula Q is equal to H delta T, where Q is the local heat flux density in watt per meter square. H is the heat transfer coefficient, watt per meter square Kelvin, and delta T is the temperature difference. So generally grains are dry due to this convection process. So this process is mainly applied in the drying of the grain. Third mode is radiation. So for radiation, no any medium is required. It doesn't require any medium and can be used for transfer of heat in a vacuum as well. So this method uses electromagnetic waves like sun ray. Sun ray is also electromagnetic rays, electromagnetic waves. So this method uses electromagnetic waves which transfer heat from one place to the other place. The heat and light from the sun in our solar system reach our planet using radiation only. For example, heating of grain by sun's radiation. So by this equation, you can calculate the power radiated through the radiation process by this is the Stefan Boltzmann equation. P is equal to E sigma A T4, where P is the power radiated, E is the emissivity. This sigma is Stefan Boltzmann constant, and its value is 5.67 into 10 raised to power minus 8 watt per meter square per Kelvin raised to power 4. A is the surface area of that object and T is the temperature. Okay. So this is the equation through which one can calculate the power radiated from any object through radiation. So these are the modes of heat transfer. Okay. So these are the three modes of transfer the heat from one place to other place: conduction, convection, and radiation. Now the drying methods. So to dry the grain, different methods are adaptive are used. First is sun drying. Second is conduction drying. Third is convection drying. Fourth is radiation drying, freeze drying, osmotic drying, fluidized bed drying, dielectric drying, thin layer drying, deep bed drying. Okay, so these are the methods of the drying of the grain. So First is the sun drying. Okay. So this is the method. This is the traditional method of drying. So drying takes place through radiation mode of sun's electromagnetic wave. Okay. The sun rays will come, heat, and evaporate the moisture. So this is the method of sun drying. Other method is conduction or contact drying. So here the heat is transferred to wet material by conduction mode to the solid surface. Here the surface temperature may vary widely. Dryers can be operated under low pressure and in inert atmosphere. So here the dust and dusty materials can be removed easily. There is the conduction or contact drying. Other one is convection drying. So in the convection drying, the drying agent is hot gas or hot air. Okay. So that hot air supply heat to the wet grain that we have to dry. So in this case, the steam heated air, direct flue gases of agriculture waste can be used as drying agents. Drying temperature varies widely. If atmospheric humidity is high, natural air drying needs dehumidification. Fuel consumption is high as compared to conduction drying for the same capacity. For example, the fluidized bed dryers, hot air oven dryers, these works on this principle, convection drying. Radiation drying. So based on the absorption of radiant energy of sun and transformation into heat energy by the grain. So moisture movement and evaporation is caused by temperature difference and partial pressure of water vapor between the surrounding air. For example, the sun drying. Other method is the freeze drying. So in this method, the drying is based on the sublimation of frozen moisture from wet product placed in a drying chamber. It works out at the low pressure, and in this method the heat is supplied by radiation or conduction mode. Other one is osmotic drying. So in this case, the moisture is removed using osmoactive substance like 60% aqueous solution of saccharose or 25% aqueous sodium chloride. So here concentration difference generated on both sides of the semi-permeable membrane and object is dried. Other one is fluidized bed drying. In this case, the products which we have to dry are being dried under fluidized condition. In this case, the fluidization occurs by drying air with sufficient high velocity to cause suspension. High rate of moisture migration takes place. In this case, drying will be uniform. It is used for the high initial moisture content and lighter material. Other one is the dielectric drying. So here the heat is generated within the solid by placing it in fixed high frequency current. Polar molecules of substance get polarized and begin to oscillate in accordance with the frequency. Here oscillation causes friction which generates the heat and product will be dried. For example, the microwave heating. This works on the dielectric drive. Okay.